Investigative correspondent Scott MacFarlane. It's always good to see you, Scott. This isn't the only serviceman facing charges. Where does he fit in, and what else is known about the other members of the military here?
Hey, Chris, good afternoon. He really stands out. Chris Warnegiris is active duty. In fact, according to court filings, the Marine command at Quantico was investigated by investigators as they looked into Warnegiris' case. He's made his first appearance at a court hearing in the Eastern District of Virginia. His case will shift to D.C. eventually, accused of physically opening a door, physically pushing past police, but it's the active duty that stands out. What we're seeing more of are military veterans. That would include the case of Jeffrey McKillop, also of Virginia. I've learned plea discussions have begun between McKillop's team and federal prosecutors. He's accused of a particularly gruesome act of stabbing a police officer January 6th with a flagpole. His hearings are upcoming. Jeffrey McKillop's a military veteran. Chris, we're seeing more veterans than active duty.
So, Scott, we are hearing about some plea deals. And you know, in a relatively minor charge, it can mean nothing. It just means that they've decided to settle. But it can also mean someone has information on other bigger fish. Do we have any indication prosecutors are targeting certain individuals for leverage in other cases?
Yeah, in the federal system, nearly all cases end with a plea agreement, so plea hearings are no surprise. But there's only one signed plea agreement so far out of 440 cases. That's John Schaefer, an Oath Keeper who has admitted being a member of the Oath Keeper, being on the Capitol Hill January 6th, and using bear spray and having tactical gear. Big admissions. He's a member of the far-right Oath Keepers group, and that really is the focus of federal prosecutors with the most serious charges, and many of the defendants being held in custody pending trial are associated with those far-right groups, the Oath Keepers, the Proud Boys. One other note, we're watching a case on Monday, Chris. Daniel Rodriguez of California, accused in the attack on Officer Michael Fanone, the D.C. police officer who was tasered, who was beaten, who was heckled outside the Capitol. We'll watch what happens there. But by our count, nearly 140 officers were hurt that day, ranging from minor to graphic injuries. One officer temporarily blinded and scarred by a chemical spray attack outside the Capitol. We also have an officer who was knocked unconscious in addition to having a concussion. We'll watch all these cases and these injuries closely, Chris.
Scott MacFarlane, thank you for that. And while some